Hi everyone, my name's Rob. I'm the author of when they come out now. There'll be 750 books that I've written. I'm waiting for a couple to come out. The thing is, I looked online, I was just looking generally, I've done it before, I like to have a look from time to time. And Leeds University is recruiting for a creative writing lecturer. Now, what do they want? They want someone with a PhD in creative writing. Wrong, completely wrong idea. What you want is a writer. See, that's why university creative writing programs aren't worth anything. You do get some people who are professional authors like myself doing them, but basically speaking, for most people, they're absolutely meaningless because the people teaching them do not know what the hell they're talking about. See, while these people are doing PhDs in creative writing, they should be doing actual writing. That's a fact. I don't think there's any novelist, which is what people normally think of when you think of creative writing, of note that has done a PhD in creative writing. None. Not a single one has done it because you've got two streams. You either become a Southern school teacher and you go and you spend your time lecturing in creative writing, or actually do creative writing. Now, ironically speaking, a lot of people who were creative writers, who were professional writers, have actually done teaching. Some have done teaching. They taught creative writing or something like this, or on some English at some point in time. But they don't do it with a PhD. They just teach normal people. And the reason is they're not allowed to teach the people that at the top because they know what they're talking about. I mean, basically speaking, to be fairly honest, to do a creative writing PhD is the act of a loser. Why would you do a degree in a subject that it won't teach you to do? Isn't it going to be an embarrassment years down the line when you say, I am Dr. So-and-so, creative writing, and said, oh, that's good. So, are you on the bestseller list? Are you on the Times bestseller list? No. Why not? Because I'm not good enough. But you got a PhD in it. Yes. Well, that was a waste of bloody time, wasn't it? I mean, it's just an embarrassment. Why would you do that to yourself? You know, it's a complete waste. It's just the idea of the academicalization of things. Everything's got to have a certain degree, you know? I mean, let's be honest, what's wrong with just being able to do stuff? Because that's them with universities. They choose people that have the qualification as opposed to being able to do it. Like getting a qualification subject is something on itself. See, people think creative writing is like a theoretical subject. It's not. It's a job. People do this for a job. There's not many people do it for a job, but it's a job for some people. For people who are novelists and writers, they write for a living. It's an actual job. It's not just something you do so you can go up spin off to become an accountant. It's an actual job that people do. You're being trained for a job, and if you don't get that job at the end, then you wasted your bloody time if you can't do it. You know? And it's an expensive waste of time. It costs a bloody fortune to do this, which I think is a waste of time. They should bring the prices down. I mean, to be honest, I have to do as good a job and teach somebody to write in a much shorter length of time and produce people that are much better. That's because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've done this a long time, you know. I've wrote 750 sudden books, not the small amount they do, where they write a couple of portly books and a couple of this and a bit of that, and they think it's a majestic, incredible amount of work. In actual fact, it's not. It's not very much at all. You know, people do a master's and not a bachelor's degree in it, fair enough, but a PhD? Really? You want to do a PhD in a subject you won't be able to do at the end? You know? I mean, the main reason for doing the masters in creative writing is so that you can teach it. You can teach it to some level to other people, so you can get like a lower level teaching job. But I don't think they're doing them now. You've got to have the PhD. You've got to be the PhD in creative writing. Who doesn't know how to write creatively and's got a stick up their arse and doesn't know what the hell they're doing in any way, shape, or form. A competing competent that is good at passing things. When the hell did passing things become a thing? You know? Like if you're applying for a job, people don't look at what you've actually done, they look at what you passed. What was your pass on your degree? Shouldn't they be looking, it depends what age you are, but shouldn't they be looking at how you've done in your career and what you've achieved? Wouldn't that make more sense? Because that stuff was originally only to get you in. It was to train you to get you into something. Yeah? So your brain wasn't a complete cabbage, so you had some sort of education. But it's turned into more than that. It's turned into an end in itself, you know? Like, I mean, when I studied, you had people who were cranking out at that point in time. People could study multiple degrees at university at the same level. I don't think you can do that now. And they were cranking out degree after degree after degree after degree. And I must admit, at the time, I always thought I was a good idea. But now I look back and I think, but these people didn't do anything else. You know, if you've got 5 degrees and you've got a load of other achievements, good on you. But if you've got 5 degrees, you've got no other achievements, you wasted your time because you should be achieving things. Degrees are just learning. Learning's good, but producing is better. Producing new work, producing new things, doing things in the world is what contributes to society, not simply cranking out degrees and certificates. You know, they're valuable if they help you do things. You've got to apply the knowledge. You know, nothing wrong with learning, but you got to make sure what you're learning is relevant. I mean, I think what they should do is they need to scrap the PhD in creative writing straight away because it's of no purpose. It has no useful purpose. And they need to make the masters in creative writing easier to get into. Because to be honest, a lot of people who write don't have degrees in English. Some of them don't have degrees at all, but a lot of them have degrees, but not in English and different subjects and things like this. And they may need to move into the masters in creative writing. I want to at some point in time because they're already writing creatively. They want to learn a little bit more, or they think it can help them in some way. That's fair enough. But the bottom line is, all no, it has to be a degree in English and it has to be this level of passing it. Do me a favor. Some of the best writers on the planet just grazed through the degree. I didn't get one at all, you know. I mean, a lot of them aren't particularly academic. They just happen to be very, very good writers. But seeing as how the Master's in Creative Writing is a degree in writing, they should get in. Because they can actually do the thing that it's supposed to be about. You know? The idea that people have to be kept out unless you have a certain thing and yes, you have to have those very clever to do this. What do you mean they're already doing it? They're already doing what they're supposed to be doing. And if you're saying it's more difficult to do the degree than write the books and you're doing it wrong, you can't be making qualifications that are more difficult than to do the thing itself. That would be a waste of bloody time. You've got to be a complete bloody idiot to make degrees that are more difficult than the subject that they're actually practicing. What the hell's the point in that? You know? I mean, that means you've got people who can't do the degree but can do the job. What is the point? But you see, universities think their point is to fail a certain amount of people and make it this level, and sometimes they'll make it more difficult than they should be because different subjects aren't always the same level. But we'll try to make it, yes, and we'll make it very valuable and make it very difficult. Your job isn't to make it difficult, it's what students you produce out the other end. If you make it very difficult, but your course is structured in such a way that none of your students can do what they come out the other end. That if you make a super difficult creative writing course, but none of your students can write creatively when they come out, you failed. However, if you have a course where everybody passes, and it's an easy course where everybody becomes creative writers, you've succeeded because your value is the value of your students. You are supposed to be, should be assessed by the value of what your students achieve when they leave, in proportion to in ways that are linked to the course. So the idea that it's going to make it difficult, we're going to do this, and we have to do it this way and all, is bullshit, you know? There's even a guy got fired because he was giving everybody high passes. You say, well, how am I supposed to know if it's good or not? It's all about a personal choice. And he's got a point. But, you know, that's the thing. It's just about this, isn't it? About the idea that you have to have, everything's got to have a degree or something in it, you know? I'm not against education, but I just think it's overkill having PhDs in creative writing. I don't think it's about that. Because it only would make sense if all the top people had them. And none of the bloody top people have them, so it's a complete wasted exercise. Hello everybody. Yeah, it's just a waste of time. There's just no point, you know? It's the same with some other things. Why don't they try doing things that people do, you know? They do that a bit, but there's lots of jobs people do, surely, that aren't on there. But you do get the reverse thing years ago, like where there was like a shortage and you couldn't get in. Like years ago, I was going to do an inline management qualification. I said, you can't do that because you're not in inline management. I said, wait a minute, there's a shortage of inline managers. Yes, there is. Well, of course there is, because you won't let people do the qualifications to get in, and you can't get in without the qualifications. So that's the sort of idiocy you have in education. You can't do this because you're not working in this area. You do get that on the part-time and online things and things like that sometimes. You can't get in because you're not doing that job. Well, how the bloody hell are you supposed to do the job if you can't get in? Qualifications should be separate from the job. You should be able to get in if you're doing the job, but you should be able to get in if you're not. Because otherwise, nobody can get prepared for that job. You know, like, I mean, there was the Open University degree in the BEng honours in engineering. You didn't used to be able to do unless you were an engineer, which means you could do all the engineering courses, pass all the engineering courses, but you couldn't do, because you couldn't do or couldn't pass the career development in engineering unless you were an engineer. You couldn't get the engineering degree. You have a degree that was identical to engineering in every way, but it wouldn't give you the degree because you weren't already an engineer. That is academic uncertainty. That's when you're not certain of the quality of your own material. If you know your teaching material is crap, you won't let anyone in that isn't already doing the job, because there's no risk if they're already doing the job. But basically, that's idiocy. People should be able to get in and study anything, regardless of what they already do. Otherwise, what the hell is the point of them doing it? You know? It's lost its way. They think it's just about, the people who work there, they think that these qualifications are something on its own. They think they should just be cranking them out. And yes, it's very good. And he did a so-and-so, you know, an accountancy. Can he work as an accountant? No, he doesn't want to be an accountant. He's gonna go and paint. What the fuck was the point of him doing accountancy? What was the sense in that? And then people always have to go to life experience degrees. Well, you know, and there's life experience, there's Mickey Mouse. Yes, but if they can actually do it, and you're giving people degrees in subjects and they can actually do it, maybe you should get a degree in it. I mean, this does mean that clever people will end up with, the really, really clever people will have stacks of sodden degrees because it can do lots of things. But doesn't that make sense? The clever people would have, the cleverest people and highest achieving and most trying people would end up with lots of degrees because of the one to pay for them, because they're actually can do the subject. You know, if you can do it. Because otherwise, it's just a way of trumping other people. It's a way of saying, well, you know, I have 6 degrees in so-and-so. That's great. What if the other guy can do 20 things but didn't go to university? Does that not count? See, it's just a way of trumping somebody else, just a way of barriers to entry. Yes, we have to have this to get through, and a this and a that, and a one of them. And does anyone actually care in most of these jobs? Does anyone actually care whether you've got a one of these and a one of them and a this and a that? It doesn't. It matters if they can do the job. Why don't they just test people on their ability to do things? That's it. Not even all do them identical, just to do things. That's it. Or they need to come up with a separate qualification for people that can do things. Something else. A something else qualification for people who can do it. You know? I don't know. You know, a government qualification or something that's, I don't know what you call it. Diploma, master diploma, call it a grand mastership. Grand mastership in different subjects. And you have it like in not writing, if you're a journalist, you're a top journalist, or you're a novelist, you can get one in writing and things like this. And you can get one of them. That would be good. I mean, an artist diploma type of things you get if you can actually do it, you know. I don't think they want that, because then people will hire all the people that had those that can actually do it, because there'll be less risk to be thinking, wait a minute, why do I hire the guy with this? Why don't I hire the guy with that who can already do it? And I know you can do it because you got one of them. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't do that, you know. I need to start testing people on what they can do and whether they can actually do what they're supposed to be doing, and not whether they can pass the bloody course, you know. But I don't think that will happen. Not in my lifetime. It won't. God knows when they'll get to the point where they realise, wait a minute, this stuff has to be about doing something. It could be 1,000 years from now before they work out that you have to teach people to be able to do what they're supposed to do, you know. God knows what it'll take. Alien attack. The end of the world, which could be quite soon, the way things are there, but he's talking about different things in World War III and all that. What will it take before they realise I have to be educating people to do the job, to do certain things, and what they can function like that's important, not simply to pass the qualifications. My name's S. Rob. Bye.